Two things men should avoid between the ages of 18 and 40. Welcome back to Book 5, the channel that helps you live a more holistic life. It's your man Jay, and today we're going to talk about two things that men, in particular younger men from 18 to 40, should avoid during this time. Okay, now these numbers are going to be, they could be tweaked from individual to individual. It doesn't have to be a hard 40, but at least up to about, I don't know, 33-ish, 35 to 40. Some of these things are, you really don't want to get involved with any of these things earlier than those two ages, and for good reason. Now, what am I talking about? All right, let's talk about point number one. We're going to talk about your earning potential and your earning potential that is going to carry you into a life that a comfortable life that you want, that mostly everybody wants. Nobody wants an uncomfortable life, right? And one of the things that young men do at 18 upon graduation from high school is that they waste time at low wage, low skill jobs. And now, of course, at that age, you don't really have any skills to speak of that's going to demand, any type of high wages. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about going to, let's just say, bag groceries, or going to work at in retail, maybe Walmart, or a delivery service, something like that. These are low skill jobs. And when you 18, 19, 20, 21, even sometimes 25, you don't have a lot of overhead. So these jobs could, they take care of your basic needs, your clothes, and food. If you're still living with your parents, you don't have to pay rent, your phone, things like that. Or if you're living on your own, you living in some small 1 bedroom efficiency studio, etc., with friends, you don't have a lot of overhead. So these jobs, they fit the bill. But what happens is you get comfortable in these jobs and you find yourself, you 18, you was on that job. Now you 22, and it might not even be that exact job, but it's a job similar. And now you've been in these low skill jobs for 4 and 5 years. Okay. And the pay increase and things like that are minimal. So the better option, right, would be to get involved with a job that you can level your skills with, right? That you can build skills upon, whether that's in business, whether that's in tech, whether that's in trade, right? So because what's going to happen is you'll enter those jobs at an entry level, base level, and you'll be getting paid about the same amount of money that you're going to get paid at the low wage, low skill job. The difference comes in, and you are going to be building skills in this particular skilled job. So let's just say you are an electrician, right? And you go in as an apprentice and you just learn it, or you in a trade school for electricity. You're going to be getting paid a low amount of money, but you will be learning the trade. So now on your second, third, or fourth year, you have more knowledge, you have more credentials, and now you move up the ladder and your skills are going to demand a higher pay. That's not what you're going to get if you go to these low skill jobs, like stocking and forklift and all of this other stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, there is room to grow in any industry, but it's just unlikely that you go from retail floor associate to to the top of the food chain. It just typically doesn't work like that. And I've seen countless people, including myself, waste a lot of time on these low skill jobs when they're young. Right now, of course, some people go to college and that's where they go to get their skills, and they have to put their wages on the back burner. But it's the same concept. You get the skills, and then now once you go into the workforce or the business or whatever, you have skills to leverage. But if you waste time at these low skill jobs, is like a double a double discount. You don't get the pay increase, and then during the time you don't get the skill increase, and so it doesn't even give you the opportunity to um, to grow your wage. And yes, I understand that you may not know what you want to get into when you're younger, right? So you just go to these jobs and you kind of just figuring out life. But the thing about it is you don't necessarily have to want or know that you want to get into a particular skill set. And but if you get into the skill set and you decide you want to pivot, that's fine, you pivot, but you still have that same, them skills don't ever go nowhere. So in case you just want to leverage it at any point, you can always fall back and leverage it. Now you might need to update the skills for the time frame that you've been out of it, but for the most part you'll have the basic knowledge of those skills that you can always leverage. You can't do that if you spend 4, 5, 2, 6 years at low wage jobs and then try to pivot. You still have no skills to speak of to leverage, and now you're going to pivot into something and you're starting at the bottom again. So it's just best to go ahead and get straightway involved with jobs that are going to have buildable skills and a stackable learning for your wages. And in this time period, work your ass off. Just go to work. Just go to work. Young men, it is important that you just go to work. It's going to be a lot of things that going to distract you. You want to be young, free, and you want to do what you got to do, and nothing's wrong with that, but you got to make time for that. On another note, your goal is to make as much, save as much, invest as much, and build as much as possible within that 22-year window, because it really is going to set you up for your prime in your manhood, your true manhood, and that's about 36, 40 and up. So yes, that's number one. Don't get caught up wasting time in low skill, low wage jobs. All right. Number two, this is a huge one, and it has a lot to do with number one. Do not make babies, especially out of wedlock. Do not make babies. It's children are wonderful. They're cute. They are, when you, and of course, it's our reproductive organ. So we want to reproduce, especially when you're young and everything. You just trying to slay everything moving. That's because our natural biology is telling us, that it's reproductive. Okay. And now this is when I say this, the scale little differs in the age. Don't, I'm not saying it's a hard 40 start making children, or I'm not saying it's a hard 35, but apply what we talked about just a minute ago with the first point that I made. Get yourself established to a point where you can afford these children. Okay. And when I say afford children, I don't just mean monetarily afford children. Children take energy. Children take time. Children take money. And you are going to need to dedicate those things to the raising of those children. And that gets much, much easier if you are in fact better off financially and skill wise. Now, if you're an irresponsible individual, you will just, leave and go about your business. But if you are a responsible individual, then you're going to have to decide what you're going to put more into, because as a father, you are going to have to provide, and providing is going to take you going out to leverage whatever skills that you have. And when you're going out, you're not being a full-time parent, because you are getting resources for the child. Okay, you're getting resources for the child. So now the school and whoever else is seeing your child a lot more than you are. So they having a lot more impact than you are on your child's life, whether you want to recognize that or not. Okay, or you're going to say, okay, I need to be there supportive for my children, and some of those things professionally and skill wise will have to take a back seat, and it may delay your timetable to get where you need to be later on in life so far as retirement. So as lovable as children are, they are a roadblock for men early on. And I keep saying men because men and women, our timetables are different. Our lives are set up differently. And so this doesn't typically apply to women. Now, it's not that I'm leaving them out. It's just that this particular framework doesn't apply to them as much as it does men. So let's take a look at some of these statistics of how much it costs to actually raise these children. Let's take a look at this article, the cost of raising a child. All right. And we're going to drop down to paragraph 2 here. It says, based on the most recent data from the Consumer Expenditure Survey in 2015. Now, this survey was from 2015. The article, though, is from February 18th of 2020. And it says a family will spend approximately $12,980 annually per child in a middle income, $60,000 to roughly $100,000 two-child married couple. Middle income married couples, parents of a child born in 2015, may expect to spend $233,000. Okay, and $284,000 if projected inflation costs are a factor for food, shelter, and other necessities to raise a child through the age of 17. This does not include the cost of college education. And it says down here in this paragraph, expenses also increase as a child ages. Overall, annual expenses average about $300 less for children from birth to 2 years old and average $900 more for teenagers between 15 and 17. Teenagers have a higher food cost as well as higher transportation costs, as these are the years they start to drive, so insurance is included or maybe a second car is purchased for them. Okay, and this is from the USDA.gov, all right, the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So it costs a lot for, to raise a child from infancy to adulthood. And bro, that's not included. Like this says, all the other things that you got to pay for. Now, you could be an irresponsible parent and just leave, or irresponsible father and just leave. But then that creates a whole nother set of issues. Even if you stay and this is based off a two-parent household. Some parents, many parents, especially in our community, is single parents. They're not together anymore. They never were married. And so child support isn't much better. Let's look at this child support here. And this is from supportpay.com. And the child support here is not much better. Let's see. It says, are you wondering what the average child support payment is? Whether you've just been through a divorce or you're just curious, you want to know. All right, let's go down here. It says, typically, however, there's a way to calculate child support. Using the child support guidelines, a court will look at your adjusted gross income. By taking your adjusted gross income, the court then multiplies it by the guideline percentage for the number of children for which you must support. So if your annual salary is $15,000 and you have one child to support, you will be paying 17% of your income. Per month, this is about $212 a year. Per month, this is $212.50, or per year, this is $2,550 a year. Okay, so it's not much better on the child support side. And just like the other article from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the cost goes up as they get older. The cost grows up, the amount of kids that you have. And with the child support, man, you could be giving child support and the other parent is spending the child support on God knows what. It's not even going to the children. And when you're with the children, you're still paying money. So you have a cost on top of the child support. So this is why this is a bad idea for guys to get involved with children when they are young and not established. Okay, so you see right there that it's really expensive to raise a child. Okay, we're talking anywhere between $200 and $67,000 for the lifespan of their life. And when you multiply that by 2 children, 3 children, 4 children, you upward in the $1 million of cost for a child. And that's up till 17. We're not even talking about if they go to college and things of that nature. You're going to be spending for a long time. So now just think, if you start having a child at 22, 23, 24, okay, how much money annually? I believe they said it was what, about $12,000, 12,000 some odd dollars a year on the low end, because the more money you make, the more money you spend. You're talking about by the time the child is 4, that's $50,000. Now imagine you kept that $50,000 over the course of the 4 years, and then now you got 100 grand in your bank account. You still making money, and you making investment, you making moves, you doing your thing. So by the time you 35, 40, and you say, all right, I got a nice little thing stacked up here, I could start making some babies. Now you have more time to be a parent. You have more money to invest in your children's lives. It's just so many benefits. And also, you have the leverage to go out here and pick a decent partner to have children with. Because let's be honest, when you have children younger, most of us, come on, man, is not with somebody that you with for the rest of your life. All we got to do is look at the single parent rate and the single household, parental households, and they come from relationships that didn't work out because you had your kids young. And the cost, even the cost, that was the cost with parents together. The parents who aren't together, the child support system, how much money you spending for the legalities of that, and the child support that's not even going to the child, and the extra expensive you paying child support, and your child coming to see you and you still spending money. It can get really ugly, okay, so far as money is concerned, and you don't want to be dealing with that when you're a young man and you don't have much and you're trying to build yourself up. Okay, let's take a look at this video from a YouTuber.
Listen, I don't look at my kids as baggage. They ain't holding me back. I love my kids, right? And the one thing that I never want to have to tell my kids is I can't. You know, there's one thing if my kids ask me for something, and I decide as an adult, as their dad, that no, you can't have that. But to be able to, for my child to ask me for something, and I physically can't give it to him, no matter how bad I want to give it to him, the fact that I can't give it to him, that's something that really hits you to the core as a man when you got kids, because you want to be there for your kids, especially coming from the environment that I came from. By getting their stuff out the car to hand to their mom, my son grabbing his stuff. Then all of a sudden, I see my daughter. She got this real, like, puzzled look on her face. You know, I know it's something wrong with her because I know my daughter. She a daddy's girl. So I said, what's wrong, mama? Immediately, as soon as I asked her that, she bust out in tears like somebody was trying to physically harm her. She just bust out in tears, like snot coming out of her nose, real tears. I bent down to, get on her level and, hug and all that type of stuff. She was crying so hard, tears got in my mouth. Imagine that. Just dripping off of her face, tears got in my mouth. That's how bad she was crying. So I'm asking, I'm like, baby, what's wrong? She says, I miss you. I ain't even left yet, but she missed me. I'm just not dropping her off. I ain't even pulled out the driveway and left yet, but she missed me. So I'm sitting there trying to console her and everything. I tell her, baby, you want to go back home with me? She said, yeah. But this the thing, though. She said she want me to come get her tomorrow. She missed me now. She missed me. Right now, she missed me. I asked her, baby, do you want to come home with me? She said, yeah, but tomorrow. Why is my child saying that? Because she love her mama too. She want to be around her mama and she want to spend time with her mama too.
you hear the brother. The kids are having difficulty because kids naturally want their parents to be together. They want to spend time with both of them, and the broken home situation is problematic to them. And even if you're not in a broken home and one parent is always at work or both parents are always at work, is almost the same type of thing. And that's why I stress those two things for young men to absolutely avoid doing between 18 and 20. One is, to recap, one is do not waste time at low skill, low earning jobs. Okay. Start to earn your money on jobs and projects and ventures that have buildable, transferable skills. That could be in business, tech, or business, tech, or trade. Okay, so the second thing is, do not have babies. Do not make babies at this point. Don't do it. Okay, leverage the skills that you are building, stack your money, do things financially responsible that's going to set you up. I'm not talking about a couple, you up for the later years of your life, 40 and above. And then once you get to that point, which could be around 35 to 40, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later, you go ahead and you start creating those kids, because now you have the funds to take care of them. You have the time to support them, whether or not you are still together with their mother or not. And it also allows you to leverage and be in a position to pick a solid partner to have these children with. Okay, so that's the video for today. I want to leave y'all with the scripture of the day, and that's Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 20. All right, young dudes, even older dudes, Proverbs 19 and 20. Get that counsel and adhere to the counsel, and be wise about what you're doing out here. Thanks for joining us on Book 5. That's it. This is your man Jay, and I'll catch you next time in the book club.